Thomas Hewitt, 50s, weathered and lean, men's offense. His hands are calloused. His face tells stories of isolation. A dog lies in the shade nearby. Narrator VO. Thomas Hewitt had been alone for 3 years. Not by choice, but by circumstance. His wife taken by fever. His sons scattered to California. The land was all he had left. Thomas wiped sweat from his brow, squinting at the horizon. Through the heat shimmer, 10 figures on horseback materialize, moving slowly toward the ranch. Thomas stands on his porch, rifle resting in the crook of his arm. Not aimed, but ready. The riders approach. They are Apache, men, women, and children. Exhausted, dust-covered, led by Nault 40s. Dignified despite obvious hardship. The horses stop 30 feet from the porch. Long silence. Eyes meet. Nault in Apache, subtitled, "We Seek Water." Shelter for one night. Thomas doesn't speak Apache, but the meaning is clear in Nault's gesture, pointing to his mouth, then the sky, then making the sign for sleep. Thomas, you running from the cavalry? Nault studies him. Nault, heavily accented English. We run from hunger. From winter coming. Thomas sees a young girl, 8, on horseback, swaying with exhaustion. An elderly woman barely upright. Thomas, after a long beat, well, I got a barn. Lantern light flickers. The Apache family settles into the hay. Thomas brings water, dried beef, flour. He sets it down wordlessly. Nault nods. Thomas turns to leave. Nault, why you help? Thomas pauses at the door. Thomas, without turning. Because I remember what it's like, when nobody else will. Thomas sits alone at his table, rifle across his lap, listening to the murmur of Apache voices from the barn. His eyes heavy with something, fear, or maybe memory. Thomas emerges. Smoke rises from a small fire near the barn. The Apaches are awake. An Apache woman, 30s, approaches with a tin cup. She offers it coffee, made from Thomas's grounds. Apache woman, broken English, thank you. For kindness. Thomas takes the cup. Nods. Montage day 1. Thomas shows Nault where the well is. Apache children play cautiously, watching Thomas. The elderly woman sorts herbs, shows the young girl. Thomas and Nault repair fence together in silence. Shared meal by firelight, separate but visible to each other. Thomas enters with more supplies. Finds Nault carving something from wood. Thomas said one night, "Been to now." Nault doesn't look up. Nault, old grandmother. Too sick to travel. Thomas sees the elderly woman, feverish, cared for by the others. Thomas, long pause, my wife. Fever took her. Nothing I could do. Nault, this is why you help. Thomas, maybe. He sets down the supplies. Thomas, so indeed, I got some willow bark. For the fever. Thomas works alongside the Apache man. They've repaired his entire fence line, patched his roof. Small payments for the shelter. The young girl approaches Thomas shyly, holds out a small woven bracelet. Thomas stares at it. Thomas, voice rough, my daughter used to make these. He takes it carefully, puts it on. Thomas sits at his table, the bracelet on his wrist. For the first time in 3 years, his house doesn't feel like a tomb. The Apache family packs their horses. The grandmother is stronger now, able to sit upright. Nault approaches Thomas. Nault, you are a good man. A lone man. These same things sometimes. Thomas, where will you go? Nault, Mexico. Maybe. Where they don't hunt us. He hands Thomas the carved piece. A small horse, perfect detail. Nault, so indeed, so you remember. Not all strangers are enemies. Thomas, reckon I won't forget. The young girl waves. Thomas waves back. The Apache family rides toward the southern horizon. Thomas watches until they disappear into the heat shimmer. Thomas places the carved horse on his mantle, next to a faded photograph of his family. He sits at the table. The house is silent again, but different now. Narrator VO. Thomas Hewitt would be alone for 2 more years before his sons returned. But he was never quite as lonely again, because 10 strangers had taught him something he'd forgotten. That mercy is the bridge between solitude and humanity. Thomas looks at the bracelet on his wrist, almost smiles.